Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
BTS paved the way. Why is it so hard to accept it?
BTS paved the way for K-pop. It is a fact, but also a controversial thing to say. So how is it that there is so much disagreement? First of all, I think we all need to make sure we're talking about the same thing first. Paving the way simply means making it easier for something to happen or someone to do something. Paving the way doesn't mean
To make it easier. If something paves the way forward to something, it makes the other thing possible. To create to create what? To create a situation. Who wrote
I
this?
cannot see it. So
To create a situation that make it possible or easier for something to happen. Make progress or development easier. Okay.
this is like very technical.
According to this definition, yeah, duh.
But everyone can make their own definition how they understand pave the way.
To me, how I see paved the way is there can only be one person who paves the way, right?
Yeah, because you don't have like multiple people paving the
Yeah,
way.
but according to this definition, then there's could be like 20 people paving the way because everybody adds like a little bit, kind of like then in
Then
that.
you didn't make a way, you made a spot.
But according to this,
paved
you
a
paved
spot.
the way. According to
You
this, you
paved
paved
one
the
little
way.
spot, you put a little brick there.
According to this definition,
A
that's
way
paving
means
the
there's
way.
like a pathway, like you can walk through
I
it.
agree.
You can slide the runway.
I consider it the same way that you do, but according to this definition, paving the way is putting one brick on the road is paving the way. That's what this says. Okay.
Because we need a
inventing
way to
something.
what? Way to what?
You're not building the road from scratch. You're just paving a road which is very hard to walk through, making it easier for others to walk behind you. So when we say BTS paved the way, we don't mean that BTS invented K-pop or entered the global music market first. We just mean that BTS made it easier for K-pop acts to enter the global music market. K-pop was a growing interest before BTS, but it was still a very niche thing. Now,
Actually, you know where this comes from now that I think about it? In the forest, but there's just grass. And you keep walking through the grass, walking. Every single day you go to work, you go to school. Eventually the grass is gonna die and it's gonna be a little way. That's what paving a way is. So it doesn't have to be one person because multiple people can walk through that same road, I guess. So I think the definition makes a little more sense when you think of because when you think of bricks, yeah, it's kind of doesn't make much sense.
But this is saying a solo person paved the way. It's not like multiple. It's not including multiple people. They're saying BTS paved the way.
Right,
it's just
but
one.
multiple people can have gone through the way, but the way wasn't paved.
So they're rubbing. They're leaving
They
their
rub.
mark.
They.
I think leave your mark. They left a mark. I don't know. It's just everyone always takes this phrase the wrong way. So it's like maybe we shouldn't use it.
It's a little it's a little
Just say
controversial.
just it's like everyone's using symbolism and just say exactly what they did. Okay?
Yeah,
Just
it's a little
say it.
controversial phrase. I'll give you that.
however, K-pop is part of conversations about pop culture because BTS are mainstream. It was only after BTS entered the Billboard charts when Billboard created charts only for K-pop. It was only after BTS started winning Western award shows when Western award shows created K-pop categories. It was only after BTS won their first American award for top social artist when K-pop acts opened Twitter accounts because BTS were nominated for their Twitter engagement. It was only after BTS debuted in American television when K-pop acts started being invited to American television.
I think you just have to list all the things that they did. Okay, and that's gonna be very clear.
BTS started getting Grammy nominations when K-pop acts started submitting their songs to the Grammys. It was only after BTS's fandom requested to have their albums on stores like Target when K-pop started selling their albums in stores like Target. It was only after BTS became the biggest group in the world when K-pop groups had the opportunity to sign with American labels. BTS paved the way because without them, K-pop would have remained a niche interest and wouldn't have the global platform they have today thanks to BTS. So what are the arguments against the phrase BTS paved the way?
He is making a strong argument though.
What?
BTS has a lot of firsts, but not only they have a lot of firsts, a lot of those firsts are so strong that without those firsts, there would be no, like BTS would just be. I mean, to be fair, BTS is not BTS. K-pop. K-pop is still niche though. Like she said, oh, K-pop would remain niche. It's still
the thing
niche.
is, they even go to the point that they say BTS transcended K-pop, so they're not representing K-pop anymore.
BTS has transcended K-pop. Yes, I will give you that.
But that's such a controversial take because everyone in K-pop was like, "Hey."
Well, BTS having transcended K-pop though, that kind of opens the door for somebody else from K-pop to fill that spot, because BTS is no. Well, I mean, they still. I mean, we'll see what album they make, right? It's gonna be hard. That's gonna determine a lot of things.
Mm. They're just great. Let's just leave it as that.
First is that the second generation paved the way. For more context, we need to understand that K-pop has different generations. The first generation came around the 1990s and is composed of artists like So Taiji, who basically invented K-pop by introducing American music styles
You know, the
and
thing
music
is
equipment.
that I can see like in basketball, like we had really great players back in the day, but they're not making the salaries, the outrageous salaries that the today players are making. So everyone can look from back in the day like, man, I wish I could be a player from today's standards.
And not only about the money, it's about the skill too. Back like that's why there's to me there's a problem when you call those people from back in the day like, oh, Michael Jordan the greatest. If you say Michael Jordan the greatest, then that means you say basketball hasn't evolved, and basketball has evolved so much. That's why LeBron is the greatest, not Michael Jordan, because the basketball is much more complicated now. LeBron was dominating in that more complex era. So it's a little like obviously without the old school people from the 60s, 70s, the games wouldn't be the same. But you know that the game is much more evolved now. That those people take that person from the 70s, put it now, it will be playing at LA Fitness.
Yeah, it's hard because you want to be a part of something great, but do you want to be a part of something great in the beginning, middle, or at the end of it? Everyone would say hindsight is 2020. You want to be where it's popping.
I think you got to look at it like this: that everybody, kind of like what you said with the bricks. I guess everybody put a brick in. You know, just is what it is to make it what it is. There's a lot of people that have to put a brick in to make the whole world.
But I can see how people can look at the newer generation salty that they just should run. They don't have to struggle. They don't have to get it from the mud. Because that when you're the one that's going through all the hardship, it's hard to see other people have it easier, and you're like looking.
Yes, but they added other things to it to make it like, yeah, sure, like maybe BTS didn't have to go through whatever the first gen group got to go to, but BTS had to break through the American market. The other groups didn't have to. They had to make through Korean market, maybe Asian market. BTS had to break the another market. So it's,
to South Korea, and entertainment agencies were inspired by the Japanese idol industry to create the K-pop idol training system, in which singers train for years to debut in a group. The second generation started around the early 2000s, and it was when K-pop became known as a niche interest in countries outside of South Korea. The third generation is K-pop slowly entering the global music market. BTS is part of this generation. The fourth generation starts in 2017, after BTS became the most popular group in the world. So the argument is that without the first and second generation of K-pop, BTS wouldn't even exist and be as popular as they are today. However, absolutely
I mean, that argument is correct, though.
That's true.
That is true. You cannot say that's not true.
no one is denying that these big first and second generation K-pop acts helped BTS become a group because the members were part of the idol training system, and without it, they wouldn't even have met. But it was not because of the K-pop system that BTS became global artists. If this was the case, other bigger groups at the time with way more resources should have become global instead of them. BTS became global artists because they and their almost bankrupt label were rejected opportunities in the K-pop industry, and they were forced to find their own out-of-the-norm creative ways to promote themselves. The first and second generation helped BTS exist as a group, but they didn't pave the way because they didn't make it easier for BTS or anyone else in K-pop to enter the Western music market. They actually made it more difficult. This is why all the previous K-pop groups who attempted to enter the Western music market failed, and after their failures, no other K-pop group tried to enter too, including BTS. BTS accidentally entered the Western music market because their music and personalities became popular on Twitter and YouTube, a way of promotion that K-pop acts didn't seriously consider before. This should be enough proof that the second generation of K-pop didn't pave the way. They actually destroyed the way because no one dared to walk through that road again. Now, thanks to BTS, the way is paved, and K-pop groups have multiple opportunities to promote in the US.
What they did with social media was super, super clever.
I think she's right with this argument. I don't really have much rebuttal. I think she's correct. I agree with basically everything she said. I think the other groups tried and they failed. So you can't say they paved the way because they didn't. They failed. Nobody really from the second gen broke through the.
And possibly that the American labels were not open to give them another chance because they tried already,
Yeah,
experimented,
so
they
it's like,
failed. So why would they do it
yeah,
again?
Yeah, and the only like to me, The only out of the second gen that I would like consider is Big Bang, but Big Bang did not pave the way to make it here because
I never
they
heard of
just weren't
them.
popular
Yeah,
here. Yeah,
yeah.
they're big
Psy
within.
we heard of.
Yeah, Psy is the only person we have
Yeah.
heard from Korea outside of BTS. So
Yeah.
now this argument is gonna be interesting, but I would also I think I know where she's gonna go with it because I don't think Psy paved the way. Psy was the first one to do it, but there was kind of nobody after for like almost a decade.
And more music after.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I think with Psy case it was just luck. There wasn't really paving.
The second argument against is that Psy paved the way because Gangnam Style was a global hit.
Now he definitely laid the brick, for sure, on the
Mhm.
road. He put a brick on the road, maybe a couple bricks on the road, but he, didn't make the whole road.
So he made K-pop be known globally. However, that is not paving the way. Gangnam Style was huge, but his musical career didn't see much growth in the Western and global music industry. He was invited to American award shows, morning shows, late night shows, and he even had collaborations with Western artists. So he was the first in doing many things, but he didn't make it easier for other K-pop acts to debut in America. The general public knew Gangnam Style, but many didn't even know his name or the country he was from. Psy said, there were even people who thought my name was Gangnam Style. Some people overseas would say, hi Gangnam Style. Some did get to know about K-pop because of him, but since his
No,
future
they call you
singles decreased
Gangnam
in
Style because they
popularity
don't know your name. That's the thing.
amongst the general public, he stopped being invited to all of these shows. He was considered a one-hit wonder and a funny phenomenon that would disappear after some time, and that was what happened. And I know that racism and xenophobia played a big role in his downfall, so I don't think we should blame him at all. It's not that Psy didn't want to
I think in the West he is a one hit wonder in the West, but in Korea he's a established artist. He has multiple hits in Korea, in Asian world. It's just here he only has one hit here.
And here, what I notice here, America, I feel like they can only take in one Asian person at a time, and that be it. Like, for example, we have Bruce Lee, and that was the thing. Then we have Jackie Chan, and then that was the thing. Then there's this guy called, I don't know if you know him, he's called like Dr. Ken. His name is Ken, and we have him. And then we have that basketball player, Yao Ming.
You know what I mean?
Yao Ming. It's like we only get like a sprinkle here and there of Asian stars in the West. So it would be really rare to have like, okay, like a group like BTS, all like popular group, popular at one time.
pave the way for others. It's that Psy couldn't pave the way. But K-pop fans can be mad about his situation while also not inventing a story of success and paving the way, discrediting BTS, the actual ones who paved the way, especially when BTS in 2017 also faced similar hardships and were also considered a weird phenomenon that will disappear after some time.
What the hell? What the hell?
The difference is that they kept growing because they were actually gaining fans. And
That's
these fans helped
awful.
BTS win awards, perform on
That's
TV, sell their albums in
awful.
American stores, and sell out stadiums. This made K-pop be known by the general
I think we
That's
saw that.
so
Put your hands down.
rude.
That comment is just
That is so
not even
rude.
like put your hands down. I guess put your hands over there. But this is America. That part is just wrong.
This is
This is
awful.
America.
That is so rude.
Yeah.
And this is paparazzi. Who the hell do they think they are?
Honestly,
Like,
I don't know.
oh.
public and actually be part of the American music industry, not just a funny guest. So Psy is the closer BTS can get of a Korean senior, but he didn't really experience BTS's level of popularity as artist. And he doesn't really know what it's like to help your country's music industry be part of pop culture conversations. BTS had to and did figure out by themselves how to stay in the worldwide music
But she's
industry. And
right.
that's
Like when Psy came out, I didn't understand like it's South Korean music.
Yeah, it was just a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
It was because it came out right about the same time with Harlem Shake.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, another Harlem Shake type of stuff, because Harlem Shake was big, everybody's doing Harlem Shake. Then Gangnam Style, and everybody's doing the Gangnam Style. So it was like a novelty song, that meme song. That's what it was.
how they paved the way for others. They made the way easier to walk through, and they can give advice on how to do it, since it's a road they paved by themselves.
I think she made strong arguments. I do think,
Very thorough.
yeah, already like 7 minutes in, I think the title is correct. I think BTS did pave the way.
The third argument against is that BTS only paved the way for the American music market and that we shouldn't prioritize their American achievements when other countries exist. I think this argument comes from people with little knowledge in the music industry. Whether we like it or not, the American music industry is the biggest music market in the world. Its value is more than 2 times bigger than Japan's, the second biggest music market. And not only that, but unlike other countries, America creates
wonder
a
why.
chain reaction.
Why Japan is so big?
No, like for music, America is
Uh,
like the go-to.
America is the go-to for entertainment. Period. Movies, music, TV shows,
Mm,
entertainment. TikTok. Everybody watches Americans on TikTok. They
mm.
said when TikTok
But
got shut
why?
down, TikTok
But
wasn't the same without Americans.
why? I don't understand
Americans are
why.
clowns. That's why. Y'all be clowning
Oh,
people. No,
wow.
because the thing is, Americans are very like outspoken and like out
Mm,
there. I think other cultures are more conservative. So like there's things that people might think, but they're afraid to do, or like it's not acceptable. Whereas Americans, they're like don't give a fuck. So they
mm.
to see that in public, I think for people it's entertaining. They're like, how the fuck he has the guts to do that? I think that's why people watch it.
The biggest artists in the United States have high chances to also be big in other countries, including Japan and the other big markets. But the biggest artists in
That's
Japan
why
are
I
big
thought
in
the other
Japan
day
only.
that in UK, even though the biggest girl group was Spice Girls, I thought, okay, the American Girls got a chance.
Yeah, exactly. That proves the point. You
Mm-hmm.
believe, and that was a reasonable belief too. I didn't
Mm,
disagree with you.
mm.
Of course, there are a few exceptions, but even those exceptions don't change the fact that you won't listen to the biggest artists
Now, what was the biggest shock to learn? I learned this a while, like a half a year ago. On our Discord, we talked about it, but that actually Japan is the second biggest market. That was really weird. But I guess that is that because it's very controlled.
Very
So
controlled, and they support their bubble. Like that
It's
bubble
a
is
bubble. Yeah, it's a
strong.
controlled bubble that's strong. That's why it's so
Wow.
big because everything is there. I think they buy everything. They don't stream much. They have to buy. So like because of that control is like very big, which is was very
But
surprising for me.
it's you know what's wild? It's big in their bubble, but they don't even utilize outside resources. They can be
Yeah,
bigger if they wanted to. I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
if
it
they
will
could. I
work.
mean, I don't know if they could be bigger because they are second. There's no way they're replacing America, so they cannot be number one.
Lucas, when we try to even look for Japanese content,
I
it's
know.
hard.
Yes, because it's controlled. They don't allow nothing. Yeah, that's the point.
from Japan, Germany, and France in the US, in Latin America, or in every Asian country. The only
Who's
music
third?
market that can do this is the
Germany,
one
I
of
think.
the
Oh,
United
UK,
States. This is
UK.
Okay,
why
you know, okay,
Billboard has
listen,
two
listen.
global
I'm
charts.
surprised. Where is the Swedish mafias? Like,
Swedish?
the
Oh,
Swedes, don't they make the music?
thing with Sweden is a
So,
small country, but
oh,
Sweden is
so
very
all these are giant countries. South
population
Korea,
wise. Yeah,
South
population.
Korea is a large population
50
size.
million. Yeah, they're
Oh,
all big populations.
oh.
UK 77, I believe. Germany about 70, 80. France also similar. China billion. South Korea 50. Canada 44, I think. Australia, I don't know.
Would you
Italy
say?
about 70 as well.
Would you say you know music from
Well,
all
we
these?
react to all these
I
countries,
feel
yeah.
like so too as well. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know some artists here and
Japan we
there.
react. UK is surprisingly a
Yeah.
lot of music is UK, like a lot, way more than I thought before reactions.
Mm.
Germany,
You
it's
know,
just a big country. I wouldn't say their music is worldwide popular, but
uh,
they're a big country.
you know what I would like to see the rankings for all the countries because I want to know where Greece sits, where like
Uh,
Lithuania sits, like where all the countries like
maybe
do
there
they
is.
in their industry so you can
Maybe there
understand.
is more than top 10
Oh, that's
Charts,
so
list.
a global
interesting.
chart which includes the US, and other global chart which
That's impressive
excludes
for
the
South
US, because the United
Korea.
States
Wow.
That's BTS effect.
Yeah. Oh, that's
carries the global music industry
true.
numbers. The funny thing is that BTS charts well in both the global charts including the US and the
So can
global
you really
charts
call it
excluding the
niche if it's like what number placement was 7 or 8? Can
Well,
you call it niche?
it's niche in the US.
7?
No, but it's niche in the US. Like, because for example, even take number 4 in the US, doesn't exist. So like German music in the US. Okay, I don't want to say that because
I'm surprised. I would have put. I don't know anyone from Germany. I would have put South Korea before thinking Germany and Canada. I'm gagged with
there are
Canada.
Germans we just don't know who they remember we done most streamed German songs or whatever.
But
There are
no, no,
artists
no,
we don't know they're Germans, but they
no.
make music in
Listen, listen,
English.
listen, listen. Drake.
Canada, yes, Canada
What's
is
his name? The Weeknd.
Drake, The Weeknd, Tate
Tate
McRae,
McRae.
Avril
But
Lavigne.
are they considered counted as U.S. artists now? Because I
No,
don't think they
okay, you're
represent Canada.
misunderstanding this list.
Uh,
This list is not where artists are from. This list is where the most money is made from music. In which country brings most revenue from music. This is not where most artists are from. So this list is gonna be heavily population based. How that's why Japan is such a standout because it's not more pop. I don't think it's more populous than. Okay, let me look
we
up.
need the list. This is
No, not the
fascinating.
list, but I need to look up Japan population.
Oh, huh. That is so
123
fascinating.
million. Okay, never mind. There are bigger countries than others, except for China, of course. So maybe it makes sense why Japan is second then.
Oh.
Because China may be
How is
surprisingly
UK
low.
third?
Well, what do you mean UK
I feel
77
like
million?
China would beat out like
I'm surprised by how low China is. I ain't gonna lie. With a billion people and India, where the fuck is India?
oh the way we see how many views and yeah, you're right.
I think there's two factors combined: the wealth of the country and the population size. Japan is a wealthy
Oh,
country and fairly populous with over 100
oh
million.
yeah.
UK is a wealthy country but less populous. China is a shitload of people, but they're
I
kind of
thought they got
poor.
money. They say they have money.
The rich got money. I think the average people don't got much money. So I think that's. But anyway, we're spending way too much time on this. Let's
This
go.
is why Billboard has
This is
ranked top in
fascinating.
both the global charts
Interesting.
including the US and the global charts excluding the US. This is why BTS paved the way not only for the American music market, but also for the global music market. BTS is huge in all of these countries, not just South Korea and the United States. They are the biggest artists,
This is not
not
even
group artists.
considered
In
the
Japan,
South
Spotify, they
America.
sold out
Where's South
La,
America?
Latin market, I remember it was a big market, but if you combine the countries, if you take countries one by one, because they're not rich countries.
Wembley Stadium twice
Because
in the
that was my argument I was making on Discord. I could have sworn I believed Latin America was the second market. Japan is bigger market. I was very surprised to see how big Japan was.
UK. They are the only Korean act to have #1 albums in Germany. They are the only Korean group to sell out Stade de France. And this also happens in other countries with smaller music markets. It was only after BTS performed in Saudi Arabia when K-pop groups decided to also perform in Saudi Arabia. BTS paved the way for K-pop to have some visibility in every country of the world. Thanks to them, K-pop has grown everywhere. And there are now K-pop festivals around the world, and K-pop albums are more easily distributed everywhere.
We're truly honored to be on this stage with such amazing, tremendous artists right over here.
Another argument against is that each group has paved their own way. And what people say about this is that K-pop idols worked very hard on passing all the auditions they had as part of the idol training system, and they practiced a lot to strengthen.
No, that argument doesn't make sense. Each group penned their own way. No, that doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
No, this you see one do it, you do it the same way because you
That's
see
not because
everyone
you just
copy.
copy. Everybody,
see everyone
every
copy.
group is a copy paste.
That's
of each
why
other.
there's
That doesn't make
accusations.
sense.
Oh, they copy
Yeah.
us. They took our
Their
style.
talents
They
and
took our
get their achievements.
sound.
Again, that is not paving the way. Paving the way is making it easier for others to do something. So if I say XYZ group paved their own way, I'm saying XYZ group made it easier for themselves to be known in the global music industry. And this is just not true because the road is already paved. So how did they make it easier for themselves and others? I could argue the complete opposite. I could say that BTS were the only ones
he's
who paved their own
crying.
way, and this has to do with BTS's musical influences and hardships. If you really want to attribute BTS's path to someone else, attribute it to the artists that actually inspired their music, art, and movement, which is black music, genres like hip-hop and R&B, dance styles like breakdance, legendary rappers and singers who take pride in writing their own songs, who like talking about their personal struggles and experiences. This is not to say that K-pop hasn't also been inspired by black music.
I'm glad we're talking about it. That's real.
K-pop may sound and look like black music, but the purpose of the genres got lost. With some exceptions, of course, K-pop groups are not inspired by these genres anymore. They don't pay for the samples they use, and they don't recognize the musicians who are actually composing their music. They just want the aesthetic. This is why there are many K-pop rappers wanting to look like Rihanna, but not even knowing what genre she does.
Jenny, Blackpink's primary rapper, added, "I don't think hip hop is just about rapping. Look at Rihanna. She could make anything hip hop. Hip hop means something different to everyone. To me, it's a spirit of cool vibes." Well, wow, wow. Whatever words you can, I think. Wow.
When did she say that?
I don't know, but way to take black culture and just completely disrespect it.
Ooh.
Wow.
I feel I've been
Wow.
scammed my whole life.
That is so
That's so-
disrespectful.
That's so much disregard.
That is so disrespectful.
I would want to see the context of how she said this, but
The
that on
quote
its own-
itself is disrespectful as
the quote on its own
fuck.
is disrespectful.
Wow. Well, I guess we're good. We're not following them anymore.
On the other hand, BTS have been actual fans of hip-hop artists since they were kids, and they were actually inspired by them. This is why they've always paid homage
She said
That's crazy.
she said hip hop is being cool. What the? So all those people died in the street that got shot and killed because of hip hop. That's just they were cool. Just
Wow.
oh my
To their
goodness.
influences by mentioning
Where
their
did she
idols in
say
songs,
that?
paying for the samples they
Pitchfork.
use, and crediting them, showing their pictures in concerts, and even making documentaries
Hold up, I'm
featuring
gonna
them
go
and their
unfollow
voices.
them on
All of this
YouTube right
while
now.
also prioritizing their own message, lyricism, and creative ways. BTS took the basics of these genres to express their own voices and create their own unique path in the music
That's
industry.
crazy.
This is how you pave your
That is
own
so
way. BTS
offensive.
didn't have the platform, but they had the talent, determination,
believe that.
creativity, and real love for music. For a K-pop group to pave their own way, they would have to walk through a path they paved by themselves. And that's not what they're doing. They only take the opportunities that BTS gave them.
I don't.
Open the door and close
I don't
it.
think they closed the door. I don't think. I think they honestly the door has never been opened wider while they were in the military. The problem is nobody stepped
know,
in.
that's so
No, they left the door
true.
wide open.
Open.
Stray Kids go, TXT go, ATs go. Nobody went.
Stray Kids was going, and then they got like flamed and roasted.
Stray Kids
It's just they don't have the connect.
I don't know. I don't think they want to go mainstream. I think they're
You
okay.
think so?
I think they're okay
You think
sitting in their
that-
bubble. I think they're okay being in their
I
bubble.
mean, there's nothing wrong, but
There's nothing wrong with that. I just
don't
don't think
know.
they want to go mainstream. I don't because their current sound is not gonna. It's not mainstream. It's a niche sound.
Because if
They
you
would need
go
to change the-
mainstream, people can criticize you and like really
There's
like,
a lot of criticism that comes with being mainstream. Yes.
Finally, the last argument against the idea that BTS paved the way is that they actually opened the door and closed it, or that they paved
low
the way for
key.
themselves.
In my position, I feel like if I'm already popping, I don't need to pop any harder than what I'm popping at.
That's how they feel.
Yeah, that's understandable.
And then close the road for everyone else. They say this is
It's not for everybody. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So
because
can't
you get
judge them
more
'cause-
headache. You get more headache.
Yeah. More money, more problem.
because BTS popularity is so big that no matter how hard others try, K-pop acts will always be in the shadows of BTS. And I believe that can be true, but only when you treat the road
I
as
feel
a
like
way
it's
to
really
instant
hard
BTS
to top what BTS have done because, wow, they have went into rooms that I think people can only dream of being in. So how are you gonna top this? And their army base, they're like
Well-
really very charitable. I'm impressed.
To be fair, records are made to be broken. But
True, but
I
who you
do
think
not
got next?
I
don't
do
think
not
at this
see
point.
anybody yet who has next.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Maybe in
Maybe in another 10 years, 15, 20 years, another group is going to come and, break the records. Right now, I don't see of
think
any
it's-
current groups that
Yeah.
can take it. No, I don't see
level
it.
of success. The road BTS paved is not a road to be BTS. It's a road to have visibility in the global music market, but you still need to work hard to create your own artistic identity. The road is paved, but you still need to run. In other words, K-pop now has visibility in the Western music industry because K-pop groups now get invited to American TV and award shows. They now have American tours and albums on Target shelves, but they still need to make themselves different from BTS because the best at being BTS are BTS, and no matter how hard K-pop tries, they won't beat them. This is why the K-pop group's attempts of being recognized as the next BTS try so hard to have the exact same achievements BTS had. They want to get the exact same records. And again, that is treating the road as a way to BTS's level of popularity, not as an opportunity to have visibility in the global music market. But there are some who do understand what this new road BTS gave them is about.
They paved the way. You have to admit, they paved the way.
The majority of K-pop acts don't really say anything at all about BTS's popularity and the opportunities
Wow,
they
I
gave them.
didn't
It
know
should
he
be
said that. Or,
Chan?
yeah, in what context? See?
Somebody asked, I guess, on the live stream.
obvious, but they act like BTS doesn't exist or like they are just another K-pop group. This has something to do with their labels controlling them and their image. However, there are some who do admit that BTS paved the way for them, and the ones who say it simply take the opportunity that BTS gave them, say thank you, and move on with their careers. They know that competing against BTS is useless, so they do their best to use the global platform BTS gave them to showcase their talents. Starting with the founder of K-pop, Seo Taiji. 25 years had to pass for Seo Taiji to recognize another socially conscious Korean artist he could pass the torch to and proclaim as his successor. In 2017, Seo Taiji
Wow.
asked BTS to remake his classic Come Back Home and told them, "This is your generation now." Another popular group from the first generation is Shinhwa. When talking about Korean entertainment agencies and the
Wow.
difficulty in balancing promotions in Korea and in the US, a member from Shinhwa said,
물론 이런 모든 고정관념을 깨는 게 저는 BTS라고 봐요. 그래서 이제 저도 생각이 좀 바뀌고 있긴 한데 그래도 BTS한테 조금 이제 원하는 거. 그래도 한국 팬들을 가끔 생각을 해주셔서
Rain, another singer from the first generation, appeared on a show where the interviewer said that the BTS promoted in the US thanks to Rain, but he responded, they became successful because they worked really hard on their own. It has nothing to do with me. Some K-pop fans say that the second generation paved the way, including groups like Wonder Girls. But this was what Sungmi from Wonder Girls
Ooh,
said
the
in
way I love
2019.
Wonder
In an interview
Girls.
she had for Billboard, a K-pop journalist tried to credit this group for the increased global popularity of K-pop. The interviewer said, it's partially because of the groundwork laid by you and Wonder Girls, but Sungmi
Nah, well, I'm sorry, I never heard of Wonder Girls until like what, a year ago tops.
I could have watched the Wendy show, but I would have not known the Wonder Girls. I'm sorry.
responded, no, BTS. Yubin, another member from Wonder Girls, also said that since they also promoted in the American music industry, she feels more sympathy and pride for BTS
You
because it was
know,
really
it
difficult.
can also be okay. I'm gonna be like devil's advocate. Okay,
Okay,
so
play.
when you're the first generation, I'm not gonna give it. Oh, pass the torch to my second generation. Maybe.
That's what you talk about Seo Taji? That's why he didn't pass the second. He
Yeah,
passed it
yeah,
to...
yeah. That's it. I'll be
I
okay
mean-
to pass it to 4/5. Not someone who's trying to take my spot. I'm gonna
mean,
pass it to you. I'm
okay.
gonna run it a little bit, and then when I say okay, I can't keep up with the youngins anymore. I'm
Okay,
gonna pass
no,
it to
I
the
mean,
younger
I get
person.
what you're saying, but there was nobody in the second generation to even pass it to. That's the thing.
Cause it's
There
like
was nobody.
it's like let me tell you something. Nicki Minaj was running it. She was not gonna hand that torch to any of the girls that were talented who were trying to take her spot. You know who she handed it to? Ice Spice.
No,
Ice
I mean,
Spice.
your statement might make sense, but there was nobody. Who you gonna pass from second gen? Big Bang. Big Bang. Just I've never heard of Big Bang until like a year ago too. Like
And I think there's controversy with the
yeah, well, yeah, but that might happen maybe a little later. But still, like Big Bang, I like Big Bang. They're a good group, but in terms of their achievements, they're not.
I don't
They
know.
weren't. They were not popular here.
But even if I'm not gonna pass the torch, if I'm first to my second,
Wonder Girls try to enter that industry.
I'm gonna pass it
After
to the
this, a
fourth,
second
fifth, and hope
generation
for the
group
fourth
was
and fifth cover my song and bring me back to life. Bring me back
placed in
to
a foreign
life.
country. Someone asked if it was because of K-pop, but a member of the group responded, no, thanks to BTS. K-pop singer Ailee also said, we K-pop artists are really proud of them because we know how hard it is to make it in the industry. The fact that they opened up these doors and cleared the way for us, it's a huge hope for us. Singling out BTS, Psy said BTS achieved Gangnam Style's unfulfilled dreams since they got permanence and persistence,
that's
as well
wow.
as 6 number
That's
one
big.
songs in the US, while Psy's highest peak was number 2. Moving on to the third generation, the K-pop group KARD said that the reason why they are receiving such a pleasant response overseas is because their sunbase or seniors, BTS, have paved the way really well. One member also said, there's so many things we can learn from them, so we're looking towards them with respect. I feel that BTS has created a genre of their very own. Members from Astro, SF9, and 17 had also said that they have a lot to learn from BTS, referencing how BTS's achievements in the West
so
helped
I know,
them. The
but
group
let's be
Big Bang
real.
said-
Let's be real. Everyone's saying nice, 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 nice. I know BTS got haters in South Korea.
South Korea is fake as fuck.
That's all I'm saying. Everyone's saying all these nice, nasty, but I've seen
They're
it.
fake as fuck.
I've seen them drag BTS to push up color.
They're fake as fuck.
Yeah.
that back then.
Behind closed doors, they'll probably talk shit, but you know,
Yeah,
they put a face up.
and they kind of talk about address that too because remember they were saying because the way they came up
Yeah, that was early in their career though. Back then, they were not afraid of them, so they were like, "We'll talk shit to their face."
now
Once they became who they became,
same
then
shit
all of a
talkers,
sudden,
all of a sudden
oh
they
yeah,
hyping them up.
BTS, but behind their back, they're talking shit. You know what it is.
Then there was no precedent like this. It was something that could only be imagined. BTS went to the Billboard Music Awards and achieved a great result. So we thought, wow, it's something that's actually possible. It seems to have made us work a bit harder. A member from G-Idol said, since BTS did help and introduce so many people to so many artists, we're influenced by them too. We would like to also strive for a similar path. A member from Monsta X said, they really paved the way for us and other K-pop acts. They made way for us to participate in the United States music industry. I don't know if we'd be able to do the things we're doing right now without them. Another member said, BTS paved the way, so I think it's been a little smoother for us. A member from Luna said, we got a lot of attention only because of our Sunbeams, BTS, who paved the way for K-pop.
BTS.
BTS.
Yes, I would say they definitely opened up the gate for everybody in K-pop. I would say.
They're legends.
Gotta
They
be
paved
a
the way.
dick
You have to admit, they
sometime.
paved the way. anyway, mad respect to BTS.
진짜 사실 미국 쪽에는 저희가
이렇게 K-pop 인기가 있어질 거라고 생각을 못했어요. 근데 이렇게 이제 방탄소년단 선배님들께서 먼저 이렇게 열어주셔가지고 저희도 조금 더 알릴 수 있는 기회가 되지 않을까 싶어서 되게 감사하고 저희도 더 미국 활동을 해보고 싶다는 생각도 하게 됐어요.
Helena Kosinski, the vice president at Nielsen, an information and data measurement firm, said BTS opened the floodgates for K-pop and that BTS makes K-pop become a mainstream trend on the global market. South Korea's culture minister praised BTS for providing a way.
I have a question. Okay, you know there's K-pop, there's C-pop, and P-pop. You know,
J-pop.
and J-pop. I always
T-pop.
and T-pop. I always felt like okay, the original was K-pop because I only heard that K-pop terminology.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that terminology for the other countries were there too.
No, I think it came from K-pop.
K-pop.
Yeah.
Oh.
Way forward to K-pop. The vice president and chief operating officer of the Korea Creative
But this person's whoever says BTS K-pop BTS makes K-pop become a mainstream trend. I disagree. I don't think K-pop is a mainstream trend. I think BTS is a mainstream trend. I don't think K-pop is. I understand BTS is part of K-pop, but outside of BTS and maybe arguably Blackpink, nobody cares about any of other K-pop groups. It just is what it is.
content agency stated K-pop has
I
skyrocketed since BTS.
The best platform to really break open K-pop, I think, is Coachella, like those events, the festivals, because I literally seen
So,
ATs perform in Coachella,
and what they do now? They
and
ain't do nothing.
no, and everyone look who are they? And
Okay, but look at Blackpink. They headlined in 2022. We still haven't heard of them.
okay.
Like we only heard of Blackpink through reactions. So we only heard of legit K-pop acts that we heard of before starting reactions. Is BTS, Dynamite and Butter, and Psy Gangnam Style. That's it. And I think we are the average person. Like we're not into music. At least we weren't into music like that. You know, we were into once you're into the scenes, yeah. So I feel like that's why we're good.
We weren't in the scene. I was into music, but I wasn't in the scene.
Yeah, right. I think that's why we're good judges of this because I think when it comes to like music, we are an average person. Maybe even above average. Like I think someone who like in Midwest fucking middle of Kentucky, I think they even hear less of shit. So I think if we didn't know them, they're definitely in Kentucky. They didn't know nobody. You know?
Popularity surged, creating jobs not only for BTS and their team, but other K-pop idols as well. And the then president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in, said that BTS are the pride and future of South Korean culture, and named them as the special presidential envoy for future generations and culture. Also, when talking about innovative strategies to communicate directly with fans, he said BTS paved the way.
Other group
So there are
stands.
definitely a lot of K-pop acts who give BTS their credit, but like I said, there are many who don't. These are usually K-pop acts being pushed to be the next BTS. And what they like to do is mention goals like Billboard and Grammys, but only crediting second generation groups as their inspiration, or even saying that they are the ones paving the way for others.
We had other artists that's been going overseas and doing what we're doing. So I guess we grew up watching them, thinking, we wish to be the group that opens up the door for more
Other foreign artists too.
to spread their music.
But still, the majority mention other groups that inspire their
fuck was
goals
that
and don't
interview?
address BTS at all. Even
Every
when
way
these goals were
possible
only
to not say BTS.
Well, what the fuck was that?
Every way possible to not say
for
BTS.
BTS. So why is it so difficult to accept it?
방탄소년단.
Why?
BTS.
I don't really like the "they are just jealous" response because it can be seen as a lazy response. But in this case, I really believe it all comes down to that one reason: jealousy. In the case of K-pop fans, the majority of the ones who deny that BTS paved the way were fans of the second generation of K-pop, who feel that saying that BTS paved the way for K-pop erases the second generation's achievements. And like I said, as hurtful as it is, BTS gave K-pop opportunities that the first and second generation couldn't. But the jealousy also comes from K-pop groups and labels who have been privileged their entire careers. No matter how much of a mess the group is, the groups on the big three are guaranteed to have a successful career. This is why the biggest groups before BTS were always from the big three. Nowadays, the groups from the big three have the same impact as they had before BTS's global popularity, but they are nothing in the global music market when compared to BTS. And this hurts the big three even more because
Dang, I
BTS
would
and their
hate
label
to have to not be able to say, "Oh, BTS is paving the way," because it's like, what are
look
you denying?
stupid.
You look stupid,
Yeah, you look
Loki.
used to be nobodies compared to these agencies. Even until this day, the three biggest K-pop labels have a crazy amount of power in the Korean entertainment industry. They basically run most K-pop platforms, TV networks, and media in general, giving their K-pop groups the advantage of having more screen time, more positive reviews, more news coverage about them. This is why BTS, even with all the money they've contributed to their label and South Korea's economy, are still to this day being banned, lied about, and sabotaged by the industry. It's not just about money, it's about power. BTS and therefore HYBE have a lot of money, but they don't have the power. They don't have connections with Korean TV networks and media like these other Korean entertainment agencies do. BTS are
The bunnies would tell you HYBE does have the power. That's what they're spreading misinformation about New Jeans.
It makes more sense now.
biggest group in the world, but the news cover their achievements the least amount of times they can because it doesn't benefit them.
보도가 돼요. 그러면
Even though they
우리가 흔히 알고
contribute to the
있는 소위 대형
GDP?
기획사의 아이돌이 그것보다 사실은 못 미치는 어떤 활약을 보였을 때 미디어에 보도되는 양이나 그 커버되는 범위를 보시면 확연히 차이가 납니다. 재밌는 부분이고
실제 그렇구나.
실제로 그렇다는 것이 저도 이제 알게 됐어요. 그런 것들이 이미 팬들 사이에서는 잘 알려져 있고 이번 그래미 같은 경우 어떻게 들어가냐면 주요 부문에서 등극에 실패했다라고 한다든지 대체적으로 그런 경향이
아무리 마이너 장르라도 그래미 후보에 올랐다고 하지.
So K-pop labels and sometimes
You're right about
K-pop
that.
groups refuse to accept that BTS paved the way because they couldn't, even when they had all the power and money from the start to do it. They are jealous that 7 nobodies from a nobody agency grew bigger than them, so they refuse to accept reality. This attitude from K-pop groups is also reflected in the way it's become harder for BTS to find friendly people in the industry.
이제 그때부터 이제 친구도 없고 이러다 보니까
친구가 없어요.
네. 핸드폰이 이 전화번호 목록을 찾아보면 연예인 친구가 10명이 안 돼요.
진짜?
대부분 사람들도 이제 저희 부담스럽다고 보통 친구로도 잘 안 놀아주더라고요.
진짜?
And you can show me all the K-pop groups on the big three interacting with BTS, but almost none of these compilations feature interactions with BTS after the real global massive success. It used to be fun when BTS were nobodies or just the biggest in K-pop, but now that BTS is the biggest group in the world, K-pop labels envy that, and they don't want their groups to interact or even mention them. This is why BTS's friends from the industry are mostly indie artists who are not trying to compete against BTS.
Well, it's lonely at the
I
top,
really don't like the way
guys.
it has become controversial to say that BTS paved the way, because if you really think about it, it's not that big of a deal. The phrase doesn't imply that BTS are better than every other K-pop group, and although I actually believe
It does. Maybe not the phrase, but their achievement implies that.
they are the best group ever, you can't think the complete opposite and still be able to agree with me, because the phrase
Like, the term best is actually, you can measure it based by achievements.
Yeah.
It's not subjective. Like if you say, I like and hypen, I like their sound, their flavor, whatever. It's okay to like them, but they're not the best. We know why? Because they don't have the achievements to match. Measuring the best is very easy. You put up achievements next to one another, and you see who has more. That is the best. It's that simple. So you can say that about
that
BTS.
BTS
Or
give
at least
opportunities for K-pop.
who makes it in the market, because as we see, like for example, Lisa receive all these opportunities, but it's really through her connections, not really
And
so much
you know,
from her talent.
she really, she flops on those opportunities. So who cares? That's it.
Wow, that was a really nice documentary.
Yeah, I think she
Did a
did
fine
a
job.
good job with the arc. I think she presented the argument
Very
well.
nice. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible.